The first king of Israel was Saul, and the people loved him. He looked like the perfect leader, tall, strong, and a great warrior. But power changed him. Saul became proud, arrogant, and stopped listening to God. Because of this, God turned away from him and decided to choose a new king, one who would have a faithful heart, not just a handsome appearance. The Lord regretted making Saul king, and he spoke to the prophet Samuel.
Samuel, I've rejected Saul. Stop feeling sad about him. Put some olive oil in a small container and go visit a man named Jesse who lives in Bethlehem. I've chosen one of his sons to be my king.
But if I do that, Saul will find out and have me killed.
Go and pour the olive oil over the new king. Saul won't know.
Samuel obeyed and went to Jesse in Bethlehem. The older sons of Jesse were tall and strong warriors in King Saul's army. They looked like true heroes. When Samuel saw the eldest son, Eliab, he thought that he was the one chosen by God. But the Lord told him,
Samuel, don't think he is the one just because he's tall and handsome. He isn't the one I've chosen.
God gave the same answer about the second son, Abinadab. Neither has the Lord chosen the third son, Shammah. Jesse brought 7 of his sons before Samuel, but the Lord did not choose any of them to be king.
Do you have any other sons? My youngest son, David, is out taking care of the sheep. Send for him.
David was the youngest son of Jesse, so at first, even his own father didn't think to call him. Everyone thought that someone older and stronger should become king. But God looks not at age or appearance, but at the heart. When Jesse brought David, the Lord said to Samuel,
He's the one. Get up and pour the olive oil on his head.
So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. Samuel then went to Ramah, and David just went back to shepherd his father's sheep on the hills of Bethlehem. He stayed humble, waiting for the Lord's time. Now the Spirit of the Lord had departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. One of the servants suggested finding someone who could play the lyre well to bring the king some peace.
Find someone who plays well, and bring him to me.
One of the servants had seen how beautifully David played, so they brought him to Saul. Whenever the Spirit from God came on Saul, David would take up his lyre and play. Then relief would come to Saul. He would feel better, and the evil spirit would leave him. Years went by. One day, the warlike Philistines gathered a massive army to attack Israel. King Saul quickly called his soldiers to defend their land. The Philistines occupied one mountain, while Saul's army held the mountain opposite them. A strong man named Goliath came out of the Philistine camp. He was a huge giant in heavy armor. He stood there and shouted to the army of Israel,
Choose your strongest warrior to fight me. If he wins, we will serve you. But if I win, you will become our servants and obey us.
Everyone was too scared to fight the giant. Meanwhile, David was far away from the war. But honestly, being a shepherd isn't exactly an easy or safe job. Hungry wild animals are always close by. When a fierce predator attacked the flock, David had neither a sword nor heavy armor. He had only his trusty sling, a few smooth stones from the river, and incredible bravery. One day, Jesse said to his son David,
Take some grain and 10 loaves of bread and bring them quickly to your brothers at the army camp.
David got up early in the morning and left, as his father had commanded him. When he reached the army camp, David left his bags with the supply keeper and hurried to find his older brothers. At that moment, Goliath shouted,
Bring me your best warrior, cowards!
Every time the Israelites saw the giant, they were terrified and fled. Goliath's words outraged David, and he exclaimed,
Who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he mocks the army of the living God? I will be the one to face him.
The king said that whoever kills Goliath will be rewarded with great wealth. Also, the winner will get to marry the king's daughter and free his family from paying taxes.
Eliab's anger burned against David.
Why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep in the wilderness? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is, and you came down only to watch the battle.
What have I done? Can't I even speak?
What David said was overheard and reported to Saul, and Saul sent for him.
Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him.
Saul replied,
You are not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him, and you are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth.
Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear.
This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God.
The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine.
Go ahead and fight him, and I hope the Lord will help you.
Saul put his own armor and helmet on David, but it was all too big and heavy, so David took it off. David took his sling and went down to the stream. He selected 5 smooth stones from the water, put them in his bag, and went to fight Goliath. The Philistine looked David over and began to mock him.
Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? Come here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals.
You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, and he will give all of you into our hands.
Goliath rushed forward with a loud roar. The ground shook under his feet. But David was not afraid. He quickly put a stone into his sling and started to spin it faster and faster. Crack! The giant stumbled and fell. The world's strongest warrior was beaten by a simple shepherd boy. David approached Goliath, pulled out the giant's sword. Suddenly, it was dead silent. The army of Israel exploded with loud shouts of joy, while the shocked king just tried to believe the impossible. The enemies panicked and ran away. The Israelites let out a massive cheer, chasing them all the way to the city gates. When David killed the Philistine, King Saul commanded the young hero be brought before him. The king asked,
Whose son are you, young man?
David answered the king,
I am the son of your servant Jesse from Bethlehem.
Today you have done the impossible, boy. The God of Israel was truly with you. From now on, you are no longer a shepherd. and you will become a commander in my army."
And as they were talking, the soul of Saul's son, Jonathan, became deeply attached to the soul of David. He loved him like a true brother. As a sign of deep respect, Jonathan took off his magnificent cloak and draped it over the shoulders of the simple shepherd, and he even presented him with his personal battle sword. And the king no longer allowed David to return to the house of his father, but took the young man to his palace. The king's daughter, Michal, fell in love with David, and they got married. The king appointed him commander over his warriors. Wherever King Saul sent David, he always acted wisely and successfully. David won the respect and love of everyone, both the common people and the royal servants. As the army returned home after beating Goliath and the Philistines, the streets were full of joy, music, and dancing. The women sang a cheerful song. King Saul beat thousands of enemies, but David beat tens of thousands. This made the king furious. Dark jealousy filled Saul's heart, and from then on, he looked at David with anger and suspicion. One evening, David was playing music to calm the king, but suddenly the king grabbed his heavy spear and threw it right at David. Luckily, David jumped out of the way. The king realized God was protecting David, and he became even more afraid of him. David understood that the king wanted to kill him. He had to run away. Saul sent men to David's house to watch it and to kill him in the morning. But Michal, David's wife, warned him,
"If you don't run for your life tonight, tomorrow you will be killed."
So Michal let David down through a window, and he fled and escaped. He went to Samuel at Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. Then he and Samuel went to the prophet's settlement and stayed there. But people told King Saul where David was, so he sent his men to catch him. However, God protected David, and he was able to escape again. Then he met with his best friend, Jonathan.
"What have I done? What is my crime that your father is trying to kill me?"
Jonathan couldn't believe that his father wanted to kill David. They came up with a plan to find out the king's intentions. The new moon feast was coming up, and David was supposed to be there. When Saul noticed David's absence, he asked Jonathan about him.
Why hasn't the son of Jesse come to the meal?
David and Jonathan invented a smart excuse for David.
David earnestly asked me to go to Bethlehem for his family's annual sacrifice.
When the king heard this, he became furious. He ordered his son to bring David to kill him. Jonathan tried to defend David. The king was so mad that he grabbed his sharp spear and threw it right at his own son. Jonathan realized that David was right. He got up from the table in fierce anger and went away. He was very grieved at his father's shameful treatment of David. He hurried to his friend's secret hiding place. When they met, Jonathan made it clear that King Saul would not stop, and it was too dangerous to stay. It was a very sad goodbye. The best friends hugged each other tightly, and David disappeared to save his life. Running away, David stopped by the priest. The priest gave him the huge sword of the giant Goliath and also some bread. David went far into the mountains and found the great cave of Adullam. He was lonely at first, but soon his brothers and his whole family secretly came to his hiding place. Then others came too, people who were treated badly by the king, or they were in trouble and just looking for a safe place. A whole army of 400 men gathered around David. Protected by God, David's small army fought the Philistines and always won. But King Saul kept looking for David to kill him. One day, Saul went into a cave without knowing David was hiding inside. His men whispered that God has given Saul to his hands. But David didn't want to hurt God's chosen king. Instead, he sneaked up and quietly cut off a piece of Saul's robe. After Saul left the cave, David followed him and called out,
My king!
Saul turned around in shock. David bowed low to the ground, showing that he still respected his king. Then David raised his hand, holding the cut piece of the king's robe. He explained to Saul that he had the perfect chance to attack today, and his men had urged him to do it. But this piece of cloth was proof David would never hurt the king or wish him any harm. Saul and his soldiers were completely shocked. The king finally understood that David had a much better heart than he did, and that one day David would become the new great king of Israel. After David promised to always keep Saul's family safe, the king and his soldiers left. But David knew how quickly the king could change his mind, so he and his men stayed in their safe hideout. Time passed. The Philistine army returned, bigger and scarier than ever. Because King Saul lost his relationship with God, he was doomed to fail. Fear defeated him before the battle even began. On that sad day, the army of Israel was defeated, and Saul and his brave son Jonathan lost their lives. After the battle, an exhausted messenger brought David the terrible news. Hearing that Saul and his best friend Jonathan had died, David broke down and cried. David had no hate in his heart for Saul, and he loved Jonathan like his own brother. It was time to go home. David didn't have to hide anymore. The people welcomed him warmly. With deep respect, they placed a golden crown on his head. That is how an ordinary shepherd who used to protect his little flock became the greatest king to protect a whole nation.